Hello and welcome to the B Roll, the official podcast of the Pacific Northwest Multicultural Reader Series and Film Festival. I am your host, Angela Ray, and I'm really excited about my guest today. My guest today is best known as Rosa, Miguel's doting grandmother on Cobra Kai, which you can see on Netflix. But these days, she is balancing a number of roles where she's recurring on multiple series, as well as doing some interesting things behind the scenes. So I cannot wait to bring her on so that we can get all of the tea. So please welcome my friend, Rose Bianco. Rose, thank you so
Hello.
much for being here on the B Roll.
It's my pleasure. It's so good to see you.
It is great to see you as well. So uh, you are on Cobra Kai right now. But a lot of fans may also recognize you from your recurring role on Being Mary Jane. Talk a
Yes.
little bit about what it was like to work one on one with Gabrielle Union.
It was amazing, actually. And it's interesting because I was talking to somebody recently about that. Um, I kind of mentioned that was almost like my breakout role in Atlanta because being on Being Mary Jane, which is a very popular show, I got a lot of like fans, not necessarily like fan club type fans, but in the industry, people started to know who I was. I had a funny role. Working with Gabrielle was amazing and tremendous. I can't tell you how great she was. She was so professional, and she would talk to me when they were setting up the lights. We'd be chatting about this or that, and at one point I remember telling her there's something wrong with my line. It doesn't make any sense, but I'm not going to make any waves. And she's like, what do you mean? And I said, well, I'm supposed to say such and such in Spanish, and that doesn't quite make sense. And she actually said, you're 100% right. And she called the director over, who was Regina King that day.
Oh, just nobody we know. Just the
I
incomparable
know.
Regina King was the director. Love that.
Yeah, she was the director. She comes over, yes, Rosie, what's up? It was so cool. It was a really, really wonderful work experience. A really good experience of one of my first kind of significant things in Atlanta. So that was all like 9 years ago. I think I started doing that.
Wow. And, in addition to Gabrielle Union, there were some legends on that show: Richard Roundtree, Margaret Avery, also
Mhm.
some younger actors who really had their breakout roles as well on Being Mary Jane. Did you get to interact with either Richard or Margaret or some of the other actors on the show?
I interacted with Margaret and kind of showed her how to set up a Twitter account and how to get followers.
That is hilarious. Okay, you got to tell more. What was that experience like?
um, so we were waiting for a few hours, waiting offset for our turn to do whatever. And she said, yeah, I want to get a Twitter account. How does that work? And how do I get followers? And so we sat there and messed with her phone. And I said, you could call it whatever you want. You put this name on it and this picture. And I said, you don't have to worry about getting followers. You will get followers. All you have to
Hmm.
do is make this account, and you could post it on Facebook or Instagram, and then everybody will go there. And we worked on that, and that took a while because between me hardly being able to see, I think I had my wrong glasses that day. So it was nice. She's a nice lady. She told me a little bit about herself and some of her downtimes, which all actors have, and the kinds of things that she would do. Also, though, another person that I spent some time with chatting was Loretta Devine, who was
Oh,
divine. You
yes.
know,
She had an amazing role on that show, totally
she
different than
really did.
anything that I had seen her in.
I know. I mean, it was she's so brave and cool to be able to do that role as well as her normally she'll play very ladylike, dressed up people, but in this case, as you know, she kind of dressed almost like a man. It was like a really interesting characterization. We sat around and she talked about her mom, who she lived with. I think they were living in Texas, um and I was like dealing with my mom at the time, so it was just like nice to chat about normal things.
Yeah.
Really great.
So you mentioned that that was kind of like a breakout role. That's where you gained fans, not necessarily, obviously some people who were watching you at home, but definitely people in the industry. Let's fast forward a little bit to this show that started off on YouTube Red, but then made the switch to Netflix and it was a hit. I'm talking about Cobra Kai. What has it been like to be on what I might say is a cult classic, if you will?
It really is. I think it's a good way to put it. Just like the Karate Kid is
Mm-hmm.
a cult classic, right? So Cobra Kai has become that. It's just humongous. Um, the fans of Cobra Kai are so loyal and so cool. I've spoken to a lot of them. I interact with them on Instagram, and I've done some interviews with some of the fans who have their little podcasts or huge podcasts. Because I think the Cobra Kai kid has, I don't know, like 2 million followers. I could be
Wow.
wrong. He has a lot. It's a lot. Like,
Okay.
he's doing amazing. Um, so I started doing that. I just auditioned for it, and I had to do a couple of extra auditions, and I went in person. And the casting director at the time was a casting director named Bajo Sanubi, and he had me do it again. At first, my very first audition, I was a little too sweet. And he goes, "No, a little bit more sassy, a little bit, you know." He didn't say sassy, but what was the word? Not so nice, not so sweet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I did give it a little bit of like vinegar, and it was just the right tone. And then I booked the part. So that was exciting. Um, I guess I got the part over a few other people. I heard, and it was hard to find somebody to cast that. In fact, they had an open call for that on Actors Access, and I, as you know, agents don't normally like you to submit through Actors Access, which is an open casting site, But I didn't. But I emailed my agent and I said, "This role seems perfect for me. You should submit me for this, please." And she did, and then I got the part. So there you go.
That is an amazing story. And so for those who may be watching who are not familiar, Actors Access, particularly in the Southeast, is probably one of the most important online platforms for actors. There's so much that you can do with your Actors Access profile, particularly if you don't have your own website. Actors Access can kind of fill in the gaps, if you will. And there are actually a lot of agents who require their talent to be on Actors Access. So good for you for seeing something, having that conversation with your agent, and encouraging your agent to submit you. I know that you are also recurring on a show, and I think we both talked about it recently. It seems as if it might be going away, but who knows? I know that fans can really demand and kind of say, hey, we really want to see more of these characters. But East New York, where you got to
Yes.
play and act with the amazing Jimmy Smith. So talk a little bit about working with Jimmy, because most of us have been following Jimmy for quite a while.
Yes, quite a while. Remember LA Law? Oh God, those are the days. Um, he's a big star. He's a big star, but he is nice, and nice encompasses a lot, right? You don't want to just say somebody's nice, but that's a good word to use. It just means that they're not jerks. That's so that's important to me. But even more than that, he's just like real and kind of he's kind of quiet. He's soft spoken, but he would ask me questions about things that I've been doing, and he kind of looked me up and knew that I had done a theater in Chicago. I know. I asked him, "How did you know all that?" And he goes, "I looked you up."
But don't we all how often do you do that? Like, you book a
All
role,
the time,
you get the
every
call
time.
sheet, you're looking to see who
Yes.
you're going to be in the scene with. Yeah. Okay.
So, and he does theater, and he listens very intently when he speaks to you. So just like an all around mensch, just a great guy. Yeah. And in the scenes, by the way,
Okay.
when we're acting,
Hmm.
what an amazing scene partner. We were like this, because all my scenes were with Jimmy, and he's just such a great scene partner. He's so focused and responsive. You know, um, that's how all actors should be. But it was really good. It was uh, it was a great experience to do a couple of scenes with him because it was why you become an actor, just to do scenes like this, to work with other actors who are right there with you, and you're able to create something really amazing. So it was everything great about that show, and it was a great show.
Yes. Hopefully, I did read in the trades that it may be going bye bye, but who knows? Stranger things have happened.
Yes, yes. So,
So, we've been talking about your career in front of the camera, and you've done some amazing things. We've talked about some of the roles that you're more recognized for because you've been recurring in those roles. Obviously, lots of roles in between, both on television as well as in film. But you recently stepped behind the camera and
I
started
did.
making movie magic for yourself. So, talk a little bit about the difference in being in front of the camera and being behind the camera and worrying about the money.
Oh Lord, worrying about the money, that is a big thing. I am executive producing a feature. We raised some money at the beginning. I think we need more money. We need to raise more money. And that's a little, you know, disconcerting because that's one of my main jobs is to raise money. So, and also to help bring funds to get the things that we need, like a colorist and a musician and sound engineer. Um, but it's going along really nicely. We have a trailer and it looks good. It's not ready for the public consumption quite yet because it needs music. More than anything, it needs music. But it's an ongoing concern, and I'm definitely behind the scenes all the time. I'm looking for film festivals that might be appropriate for the film, and I'm communicating with the writer director about how how should we unroll this. I'm also communicating with the star of the film, Frank Oakley, um, who is wonderful in every way. I love him, and we're so lucky to have gotten him because he's just a really good commanding leading man. And I just want something to happen with the film because it's good for the director, it's good for Frank, it's good for Kanisha, who plays the second lead, and the DP, everybody involved in the production company, which is Howling Warlocks. The reason I got involved in this is because I believe in that company, and I think they're very hardworking and they're talented. So I work hard on it. I'm in it too.
Okay, so that's what's nice about being the executive producer. Not only do you get to help other people, you can also put yourself in the movie as well or the project.
Well, I didn't put myself in the movie, but I
But
did
I'm
make a
sure
nice.
that because you are, making some things happen, they were like, okay, we can probably like find a
Yes,
good place
yes.
for her. She's talented.
I'm a good actress. I'm going to
Yeah.
do only good things for your movie. So, yeah. It's called
So
Rewind for now. It might change names. So we'll
that is
see.
the working title, Rewind.
Yes, the director is Morgan Shemansky. So,
And so, talk a little bit about the difference, if you will, in the energy that you use as a producer, as opposed to an actress. And so, let me tell you what I mean. Like, I direct primarily in theater, but I have directed some short film projects, and I know for me as an actor, I am more physically drained. I am, either in theater doing in rehearsals or on stage doing it over and over, the physicality of a show. Even in film or television, you might have 10 takes of just one particular camera setup, and
mhm.
then you got to move the equipment and do it all over again. But as a director, it's not nearly as physically demanding, but for me, mentally, and there's more of a stress for me as a director because I'm concerned about everything and everybody and what everyone is doing. Did
Mhm.
you find those differences in terms of being in front of the camera and behind the camera?
I There are definitely differences. I wasn't a director, so I'm not involved in every single step of the way, and I'm not the producer. I'm the executive producer, so I don't have to stress over every single thing. Where are we getting our snacks? Where are we getting our catering? Where are we getting our, locations? Where are we getting our costumes? But I was highly involved in all those elements, but it didn't all fall on my shoulders. So it wasn't a huge stress. I think um, acting in a film or TV, I don't think people realize how how draining it is. It's very hard and it's hard to explain. It looks like we're all having fun, and we are all having fun. But the energy that you have to maintain, you're like on high alert all day long, and that just it's draining. It's draining. Whereas, as the executive VP who has meetings with people, and we plan, the party at the rap party, we're planning a screening party at some point. These things are a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more, let's say, normal energy, as opposed to that heightened energy that you have when you're performing. So, big difference in that.
So we are excited that you are going to be a part of the PNMC Fest coming up this August in Portland, Oregon. What are you looking forward to the most about going out to Portland and being a part of the festival?
I am looking forward to seeing new works by independent filmmakers. I know there are probably going to be a lot of shorts. I want to maybe meet them. I want to meet creatives. I think I'm kind of ensconced in Atlanta, and I have my children here, and I have kind of a day-to-day life here, and I don't feel like I'm so tied in with a lot of creatives at all times. So the whole thing is going to be a big, creative, fulfilling event. It's just going to be an amazing experience. I think that's the thing I'm most looking forward to.
Yes, I would have to agree with you. Just being in the atmosphere of creative energy. I've been
Yeah.
to other different types of festivals, and that is what I think is the beauty of actually getting out, getting on a plane, getting in the car, getting on a train, getting on the megabus, however you need to get there. But being, as people say, being in the room to have the discussions, to see the new works, to see the works in development, like a part of the reader series, to see, where the writers are, to see actors bring light to those words and to kind of, hear the discussions. There's nothing like being in the room. So yes, I think that that is the beauty of any festival. And, being able to be in the beautiful backdrop of Portland is, I
It's
think
going to
that's
be fun. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Portland. But what you're saying is so true. And when I think about how we were all having to reach out electronically to people during the pandemic,
hmm
we missed so much of that personal vibe, energy. It's how you meet people. That's how you see what's happening. That's how you see who's up and coming, and what are the things that are coming up, like the trends and things like that. All of this stuff, you have to be on the ground and among the people and hearing. And I'm so glad that we're kind of post pandemic, because it's a lot. It's a lot to try and make things happen through Zoom all the time.
Oh, great.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm grateful for the virtual. I'm grateful that we had it. I'm grateful that we still have it and we can still do some things. But yes,
Yes.
it is amazing to be in person and in the room. And I'll tell you, you know that I'm a foodie, so I am looking forward to the foodie scene because I've never been to Portland, but I hear that Portland has an amazing food scene, and I do know that there's going to be a special food component to the festival. So that is one of the things that I am looking forward to as well. Definitely.
We'll have to go visit some good restaurants.
Absolutely. We'll have to like make sure that we leave some time in our schedule to do a little bit of that as well. So, acting, you are producing. Is there anything else creative that you have not had an opportunity to do yet that you think you might want to try a little bit?
Oh gosh, it's a lot. It's already a lot, Angela. I'll tell you what I did. There is a, this is in the personal scale, and this is important because all artists need to have a regular, fulfilling personal life, a regular life as well. So I reached out to the Wild Center, which is a garden a community garden, but it's like a community garden on steroids, kind of. It used to be small, but now it's huge, and they're looking for volunteers. And I said, I'd like to volunteer because I miss I miss being out in the gardens, and I try to keep up my own house to the extent that I can. But I think that that would be just fun. It would be fun to see what people are growing all the time, day in and day out, and just kind of being involved in a garden organization. I know that that may not be as exciting as writing or whatever, but that's what I did today.
Well, gardening is creative. Yeah, I didn't think of it that way growing up. I grew up around my grandmother a lot, and so my grandmother had a garden, and it was wonderful to, have be getting ready to eat dinner, and she would say, "Well, go out in the garden and get some fresh peppers for the greens," and
Yes,
literally having organic vegetables and fruits at my disposal. And she had just a regular sized garden, but today I'm seeing these people with these nice, like, these great boxed in areas for their greens, and then something for their tomatoes, and then something else for their herbs. And I've been blown away at what I've seen some people do with gardening, particularly after the start of the pandemic. People were looking for things to do, looking for creative outlets, and I saw
right, right.
gardening. I was like, wow. It made me want to grow something. And then I was like, I don't know if I have a green thumb. I might kill everything. So, well, that's
Well, yeah,
wonderful.
it's exciting. People who have fresh foods right outside their door. That takes a skill. I'm better at growing flowers than food, I have to tell you. There's something about growing food that requires more diligence or something like that. So I'm going to try it though this year. So
Oh, you're going to try your hand at a little bit of gardening.
yes, food gardening. Yes.
Now, do you have any projects upcoming or something that you can share? Because I'll go ahead and tell everyone, if you're not aware, actors are often under non-disclosure agreements. And so
Right.
very often we can shoot a project, 2 years earlier, but because it's not ready to be brought to the public, there's not a trailer out, you're not at liberty to talk about it, not unless you want to get in trouble. So are there other projects that we have not talked about that are dropped for you, that we can all tune into?
There's some things we can talk about. I'm sorry for the train. I decided to do this outside because it's a beautiful day. So, of course, that means we might hear some dogs barking, but whatever. Um, I am going this weekend to finish working on scenes in a web series called Odd Man Out.
Hmm.
The writer, director, the creator is Ranal Parham, and he has a deal with Peacock and Amazon and Tubi, I guess. So this web series, I agreed to do it because I saw some of his previous work, and it just so interesting. And he's got Lorel Howery's interested in it. Um, so it seems to have some, and this is again going back to independent scene. The independent content scene is very important to be a part of. It's great to be doing Marvel stuff and Chris Pratt movies, and I'm going to be on Minx on Stars starting in July in season 2 of Minx. That's awesome and amazing. It's lucrative, but I just always want to kind of keep my hand in some independent works. You can do really interesting things if you're willing to do independent stuff that may not be as lucrative at first. You never know. But also, the spirit of cooperation and creativity in those kind of projects is incredible. Ranel Parham is an incredible guy, by the way, um, and so full of optimism and power. He's just a very strong person. Um, and I'm also doing Stay at Home Mom, Sam, SAHM. It's a web series also. It's hilariously funny. And Sonara, oh shoot, I can't remember Sonara's last name, but those are two independent web series that I've been working on in the last month. So I'm excited to have those come out. And I think they're going to be worth watching.
So now, do you have anything that maybe we can catch on streaming? Because, sometimes something goes to the movies or it's airing episodically and it's like, oh, I missed it. I need to get on Hulu or I need to get on Netflix and catch up. Is there something that we can catch you in on streaming and grab some popcorn and watch Rose Bianco?
Oh, Lordy. Yeah, of course. You can see New Amsterdam started like replaying
Okay.
because I did that like a few years ago, but all of a sudden in the last couple of months, Rose, I saw you in New Amsterdam. Oh my gosh! So I'm on the pilot episode of New Amsterdam, and that's a really good role, and it was a good opportunity for me. Um, of course, Project Power. I'm sure that that's able to be seen on Netflix, and I don't know. What do you think, Angela? You tell me.
Oh, let me think. I think you.
And of Cobra Kai. Oh my gosh.
Yes,
Jessica and
because
Cobra
yeah,
Kai. Yes.
it's 5 seasons in. So if you are
Yeah.
not familiar with Cobra Kai, if you didn't catch up on the last season, definitely catch up. Uh,
Catch up.
so
Catch up. And
definitely.
I'm in all the seasons, but not in every episode, but in all the seasons. So um, that's a worthwhile show. It's a good show.
Definitely some great creativity going on Cobra Kai. Well, is there anything else that you want to share with us, Rose?
Um,
As she thinks very hard.
no, I've told you everything I could think of.
Yeah, well, we are definitely, again, we are looking forward to seeing you in Portland, Oregon for the PNMC Fest, August 17th through the 20th. Of course, I know that you'll be sitting on a panel. Who knows? Maybe we can also catch you in one of our celebrity readings for the reader series as well. Fingers crossed that we'll be able to see you in that as well. Again, everyone, this is the very talented Rose Bianco. She is going to be live and in person in Portland for the PNMC Fest this August. Rose, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day to speak with us.
My pleasure, as always. It's
All
good
right.
talking
Well,
to you.
enjoy the rest of your day.
I will. Bye.
Bye. All right, that is it for this episode of The B Roll. Again, I am your host, Angela Ray. We look forward to seeing you in Portland, August 17th through the 20th.